Could the next presidential election be between two vice presidents? While we still have a general midterm election to get through this November, there's still a ton of attention on the 2028 presidential cycle. To get more into the latest from the Center Square's Voters' Voice poll, let's talk with Mike Noble of Noble Predictive Insights. Mike, before we get to the outcome of what you guys found from the most recent poll, let's talk about what sets this poll apart from all the other polls that are out there.
There's a couple things that set this poll apart, Greg, is that first off is that it has a large sample size, so roughly 2,500 registered voters from across the country, making sure we have the right combinations of, the key demographic groups, gender, age, educational attainment. So again, making sure it's represented. The second thing is that it has the largest sample size in the country of true independent voters. So true independents are those that don't lean Republican or Democrat. They're your true middle of the road voters that ultimately decide a lot of these close elections.
And this is also a poll that has been conducted every 3 months or so. The most recent one, 2,500 voters that you have chosen to poll between August 12th and 16th. Why is this so important that it's pretty recent?
Yeah, no, it's fresh polling, so new perspectives. And so when we look at least the state of the electorate right now, how are people thinking and feeling as we're heading up to these midterm elections? Right now, they're pretty sour, frankly, on the current mood. The national mood is sour in that it's creating kind of a modest Democratic advantage heading into these midterm elections. But the thing is nowhere close to settled. Right now, we get to see that there's a 60% wrong track. So 60% think the country's going the wrong direction. Only 30% think we're on the right track. The Democrats have about a 5-point edge in the generic ballot, and then which is up from +1 in March. Now it's +5 now. And then Trump's job approval is in the low 40s right now on his economic and overall approval rating. So, and then the true independents, 52% are still unsure. So basically Democrats have the edge today, but they don't have the race in the bag. And more than
we'll see
half
exactly what happens come November, no question about it. Mike, let's talk about what could happen in 2028, though. You've got the most recent polling. Let's look at Republicans. J.D. Vance at top. What does the rest of the field look like?
Yeah, so Vance isn't merely leading the Republican field. He's right now occupying a different tier than everybody else. So he's at roughly 41%. The election were today, but Rubio is in is the closest one behind him at 18% right now. But nobody else is above 6%. So really, it's between Vance and Rubio. Everybody else is just noise.
And you look at all the other names that are on that list that you guys asked about, and you've got the likes of Ron DeSantis and Nikki Haley and several others. But like you said, nobody else goes over that 6% threshold. Some only getting 1 or 2%. So when we get to 2028, and I guess a question for this particular poll is how much has that changed since the last time you guys talked about this?
Compared to the last time we talked about it, is that Rubio wasn't probably doing as well, I think, early on in the year. But then, J.D. Vance started slipping a little bit, and Rubio his stock went up. But then we saw recently that, Vance, he kind of has come back into Republican voters' good graces. So in Trump world, it's very fluid on who can be rising and who can be falling at any given time.
No question. And now let's look at the other side of the ticket there, the Democrats. Again, we still got 2026 to get through in the midterms and who controls Congress. Very much a solid question that you guys are tapping into as well. But so much interest in what's going to happen in 2028. What does that look like, and what changed from the last time you guys polled the Democrats?
No, what's kind of interesting about this right now is that Harris is still starting in first place. So she's at 28% of Democrats, again, but not as big as, let's say, Vance on the other side of the aisle at 41%. Newsom is then farther behind at second at 14%, and Buttigieg at 12%, but AOC 7%. And you have 15% unsure, but Harris, starting that first place position, but unlike Vance on the Republican side, she doesn't have anything resembling a dominant position. And so the Democratic field looks genuinely open. And that's what you can really say, that they got their clock cleaned so hard in 2024 that they just really still haven't figured out who they are, and no one's really come out as really a strong dominant force in the Democratic Party.
Let's talk a little bit about the demographics here. How does that spread out? Age, gender. Does this show up in the polling as to favoring one candidate or the other over, either the Republicans or the Democrats' silos?
Probably the biggest demographic breakout is probably on the Democratic side, actually. Harris is doing great with 18 to 29-year-old Democrats, also with African Americans, but only, she's only holding at 13% among 65 and older. Compared to 18-29, she's at 47%. So basically with the very younger wing of the party, she's doing better, but especially with the older wing, you just see some deep divides there. And again, it just shows that the Democratic Party is kind of in this bit of they're going to go through a bit of a restructuring phase, just like the Republicans did, but it's just taking them a little bit longer.
It's something we're going to see play out in the November election. Obviously, we've been talking about the 2028 presidential election, but plenty of other things that Noble Predictive Insights polled for the Voters' Voice poll at thecentersquare.com. Mike, we've got a lot of different polling stories that are going to be coming out. Give us a little bit of a sample of some of the things that we can expect coming out here soon.
There's a bunch of good, big stories. I mean, one of the unique things we asked is, what do people hear about most during, any given week? Like what's kind of top of mind, or what are they seeing in the news cycle? They said, a lot of the headlines are about the war, but when it comes to the issues they're most concerned about, their votes are still about the wallets. So this election is very much going to be about the economy. It's the economy, stupid, as you've heard, probably in past elections, but this could be more true right now. Also, a couple other, interesting topics is that healthcare transparency. We touched on that topic, talking about healthcare disclosure and some of those items. And then, data centers, which has been a hot button issue, has some really interesting insights when it comes to data centers, whether, are they popular? Should they be put in people's communities? What are the issues that they have with it? And then also, I think, using AI, like which way to use AI. A lot of people are kind of negative about AI in general, but we found is that given different purposes it's used for, voters have more of an affinity to support it. So we have some on that as well. And then, of course, a little bit more about abortion pills and anti-Semitism and socialism we talked about. So anyways, we got into a lot of really great hot button issues, and I think voters are going to be really, your listeners are going to be very interested to see about, what these results are, because it's all the things that have been talked about right now, and we have answers for it.
Now, again, a lot of different things people are going to be able to tap into. Get the newsletter in your inbox. Go to thecentersquare.com. Sign up for free today and get the latest on those stories. Mike, when is the next poll? Because, you guys seem to have been doing this every few months here to give us kind of that trajectory of, what we're expecting heading into November, what to expect after the election. What does it look like?
Yeah, no, it's funny. We've done a few already this year. The tempo has sped up, but I think we're going to probably do another one in about a month or so. So we'll probably get one in before we head into October, ideally. So probably end of September would probably be the goal. And then we'll probably have one after the election as well. So kind of a post-mortem after all the dust is settled. We can get some questions to, whatever happened on election day, we can dig in more to get those answers. But yeah, probably in the next month, we'll probably have some more polling out.
I'm very much looking forward to that. Mike Noble of Noble Predictive Insights, thank you so much for taking time with us here on The States. We'll be right back with more.